This is an NBC News special report. Here's Savannah Guthrie.
And good morning. We come on the air with breaking news. The president has announced that 3 American detainees held for years in North Korea have been released and are on their way home at this hour. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is bringing them home. The Secretary of State had a meeting with North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un in anticipation of a summit that is coming up between the two leaders. Let's go right to Kristen Welker, who is at the White House. Kristen, good morning. Bring us up to date.
Savannah, good morning to you. Hugely significant morning here at the White House for President Trump. He made the announcement on Twitter just moments ago. Let me read you his tweet. I am pleased to inform you that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is in the air and on his way back from North Korea with the 3 wonderful gentlemen that everyone is looking so forward to meeting. They seem to be in good health. Also, good meeting with Kim Jong-un. Date and place set. That is significant, Savannah, because it's an indication that they have determined the date and place of that potential meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. Now, there was a second tweet, Savannah. Let me read that to you. He writes, Secretary Pompeo and his guests will be landing at Andrews Air Force Base at 2 a.m. in the morning. I will be there to greet them. Very exciting. The big question, what is the physical health of the detainees? I put that question to a senior national security official earlier today. This person telling me that effectively they aren't exactly sure of the health of the detainees, but they were encouraged by the fact that they were moved into a hotel ahead of this planned meeting by the Secretary of State, who, of course, is now with the detainees heading back to the U.S. The broader context here, Savannah, President Trump wants to meet with Kim Jong-un, wants to secure an agreement for North Korea to denuclearize. That is the ultimate goal here, and it was broadly thought that releasing the detainees was a precondition to really start those negotiations, a sign of good faith. It comes on the heels of President Trump announcing he's pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal. Of course, that just happened yesterday. So the question everyone is asking, how can North Korea trust the U.S. when the U.S. pulled out of that international agreement? Officials here say they're going to get a better deal with North Korea. Savannah.
All right, Kristen, thank you. And let's turn to our chief global correspondent, Bill Neely, who's been covering it this morning. We saw that the president said the detainees appeared to be in good health. And you had talked about earlier on today, Bill, how this was perhaps going to be an expression of good faith, goodwill, and that the American officials did not want the release of these detainees to be some kind of negotiating tactic once these two leaders actually sit down.
Yeah, exactly, Savannah. I mean, clearly this is a confidence-building measure by the North Koreans. You know, it's hard to see how that summit could go ahead with 3 U.S. men, whether they're in a hotel or chopping bricks up in a labor camp, effectively as bargaining chips. Mike Pompeo was in Pyongyang with around a dozen U.S. officials. He had talks and lunch at a hotel with one of Kim Jong-un's top officials, and it would appear from President Trump's tweet that he also met Kim Jong-un. Pompeo telling that official, you've been a great partner in working towards a successful summit between Kim and President Trump. And Pompeo's priorities, not just, of course, the release of those hostages, but to set the table for those nuclear talks. And as Kristen pointed out, we now know that the date and the place are set. And just on the 3 hostages, they had been sentenced to years of hard labor for allegedly spying and other offenses. They were prisoners. We don't know what health they're in. But of course, you know, releases are haunted by the fate of Otto Warmbier, that American student who was released but days later died. His family now suing Kim Jong-un's regime for murder. So good news, and that plane in the air, and they're expected to land somewhere in the United States in the next few hours. Savannah?
All right, Bill Neely, thank you. And to recap the news, the couple of pieces of news coming out from President Trump himself via Twitter. He's announcing that 3 men who had been held in North Korea, American men, have been released, that they're in the company of the Secretary of State right now in an airplane on their way back to the U.S., that they'll land at 2 a.m. Eastern time, and that the president plans to meet them there at the airport. And he also says a date and time has been set, date and place for this meeting between Kim Jong-un and President Trump. We've got a lot more right now on MSNBC, NBCNews.com. Full wrap-up tonight on Nightly News. Most of you will return to Today. I'm Savannah Guthrie in New York.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.